Alrighty, I want to welcome everybody out to the October 2nd, 2023 Jenkins City Council meeting. Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please.
Ernestine.
Here.
Chuck. Sean.
Here.
Rick.
Here.
Sammy. Here. Garnet.
Here. Alrighty, we'll stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, in your packet you have the September minutes. Any questions, additions, deletions, or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Having a motion second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Already, we also have the September financial report.
Make a motion to approve it as presented.
Already, got a motion to approve the financial report. Got a second?
I'll second.
A motion second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alrighty, we're all the way down to CRAD.
I don't have a big update for y'all today, but I did want to let you all know that I spoke with Paul Nesbitt this morning about the wastewater treatment plant. He is still in the process of getting me the cost estimate. He knows that the deadline for ARC is October 31st, so hopefully I will have that.
Okay.
But that's really all I have. If there's anything that you all need from me, please let me know. Or if you have any questions, let me know.
Y'all just keep doing what you're doing, because that's a big piece of how we're going to get through this. Between CRAD and ERCS and DCMC, we should have a pretty good hold on it. But if you look through that, or if you take them home, look through, there's just all the projects that we are actively trying to seek funding for and move to the next level. All right, engineers report. All about the same. City Hall improvements I was talking about. We're about ready to start on the elevator and those ADA compliant pieces. We got grant money to do, but we're also looking for funding to redo the roof and some other improvements and energy efficiency things. I've asked for cost estimates on solar to add to it. But some of these are the same things he's working on in conjunction with CRAD. So. ERCS, there's nothing in your packet, but I talked to Susan this evening on the way back. We've had the paving contractor in here twice. One issue we're having right now, and I'm hoping it's resolved, is the way FEMA come in and inspected the roads. If there was bad places here and bad places there, they'd say 2 foot wide, so long. Another inspector come in, looked at other roads, starting from the end of the road, the end of the road, so this wide and all the way to the end, which is the only way to really fix it right. So we're trying to go back to the drawing board with them on the other boards and other roads and try to make it the difference to be able to do it right. Now, if we have to, that's what we'll do. We'll put back what we can, but we're hoping as soon as we get that resolved to get them started. We also have been approved for generators for the water plant and sewer plant. Sewer plant has a generator, but it's a lot older and not as reliable. And then right after the flood, if we'd had a generator, we wouldn't lost water in most of town at all. The power outage put it out, and we just had a couple of sections of town that had main lines washed out. We could have stayed online and not been out of water. So we're looking to get all that done at the Homeland Security grant. Sediment Pond behind the lake, they should be starting on it relatively soon. And then what we've got left out there is the culverts, and we're getting close on those, cleaning some out, changing some out, and different places throughout town with some mitigation measures with head walls and stuff to try to keep them in place. The only other thing is the playgrounds, and I get asked about this, and I wish we'd done that done. We've got the geotech cloth and everything, but the rubber mulch that everybody used for a long time is involved in some kind of lawsuit, and maybe not the best thing for children to play on, and we're trying to find out which one we should put back. We got paid to put back rubber mulch, but There are some issues with that all over the United States, and we're trying to figure out, I don't want to put back rubber mulch and then turn around in a month and say, well, you got to take all that back out and put something else in it. So we're trying to get the right thing to put back in. That's pretty much on it. Everything's moving. You're 2 months out, and we're finally starting to get a little funding through to get started on those pieces. They're probably ain't gonna watch this on TV, but I'd like to thank the Mennonite group that was over at Emmanuel Baptist Church.
Absolutely.
They asked us anything they could do, and the first thing I said is I don't want to get in the way of anybody's home getting rebuilt. But he said we do community projects. So anyway, we bought materials, and they made 8 picnic tables for us, just like them others. And it don't take them about an hour and a half to make 4. Beats all our percent. They flip one over, market, do whatever. But it's several groups like that that's making a difference. They're coming in here working and doing what they can. So between what people got from insurance, what little they got from FEMA, and these other things, people are slowly and surely getting somewhat back to normal. I just want to brag on those volunteer groups. Team Rubicon still coming in, and different ones I hate to mention.
Has that group left, Mennonite
They
group?
left Monday evening, I think. I talked to Paul right before he left. But they're coming, there's more coming back in. We've got 38 beds in the old high school gym, and we're booked up through spring actually, some folks there. We've also got the travel trailer piece that we're going to be able to provide for some volunteer mission groups, husband and wife teams and stuff like that. So we're trying to love on our volunteers, encourage them, and keep them coming back to help as many people as they can.
They pulled the trailers in from up in those sides.
They're about all gone. There's about 14, and we're probably going to get 10 or 12, depending on what's suitable and what's
Yeah,
left.
we're dropping about 2 a month.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're real close. All right, Mr. Tackett, we're down to the second reading of the AEP franchise.
I'm going to apologize in advance, I have a cold. So my voice may break on some of this, but I'm not singing opera. I'm just reading. All right. An ordinance creating and establishing a forbid a non-exclusive electric franchise authorizing the franchisee to own, maintain, operate, and construct facilities for the transmission, distribution, sale of electrical energy within the public right-of-way of the city of Jenkins for a 10-year term in consideration of payments to the city of Jenkins of the sum of 3% of the revenue received by the franchisee from electric service provided by the franchisee within the corporate limits of the city of Jenkins, separate from and exclusive of any local tax, state tax, and fuel costs, reserving the right to increase said franchise fee to up to 4%, 4%, close friends, of the franchisee's revenues received by the franchisee from electric service provided by the franchisee inside the city of Jenkins corporate limits, separate from and exclusive of any local tax, state tax, or fuel costs, and further providing for the compliance of relevant laws, regulations, and standards, indemnification, insurance, cancellation, or termination, and bid requirements, all effective on date of passage of this ordinance granted the franchise. The second reading will be an abbreviated reading as the first reading. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Jenkins, Section 1, subject to the provisions of this ordinance, there is hereby created a non-exclusive franchise to enter upon, lay, acquire, construct, operate, own, maintain, install, use, and repair in the right-of-way of the city a system or works for the generation, transmission, and distribution of electrical energy within the corporate boundary of the city, as said boundaries now exist or may hereinafter be extended to persons or entities beyond said boundaries. Such system may include pipes, wires, manholes, ducts, structures, stations, towers, amplifiers, poles, overhead conductors and devices, underground conductors and devices, transformers, and any other apparatus, equipment, and facility, friends collectively, quote, equipment, in quote, close friends, necessary, essential, and or used or useful to the distribution and sale of electric service to the city and to persons and entities beyond said boundaries, friends, quote, services, in quote, close friends. Work performed by the company under this franchise shall be performed in such a way as not to unnecessarily interfere with the public's use of city streets. Whenever the surface of any city street is opened by the company, it may be restored at the expense of the company within a reasonable time to a condition comparable to what it was prior to the opening thereof. Contractors of the company performing the work pursuant to the franchise shall comply with the city ordinances, except to the extent that such ordinances are inconsistent with the terms of the franchise granted to the company. Section B omitted. Section 2, the following definitions apply to this ordinance as described. Section 3, the franchise created herein shall be non-exclusive and shall continue for a term of 10 years from the effective date of the ordinance granting the franchise. The company may, at its option, terminate this franchise upon 45 days written notice if, subsection I, close friends, that city breaches the terms of this franchise and such breach is not cured within 30 days of the company providing written notice to the city of said breach. Friends, in I, close friends, the company is not permitted to pass through to affected customers all fees payable by it under Section 8, herein by increasing the charges to customer classifications within the city by a like percentage, and separately stating on each affected customer's bill the aforesaid charges, or, section I, close friends, the city creates or amends any ordinance or regulation which in the company's sole discretion will have the effect of, A, close friends, substantially altering, amending, or adding to the terms of this ordinance. B, close friends, substantially impairing the company's ability to perform its obligations under the franchise in an efficient, unencumbered, and profitable way, or C, close friends, preventing the company from complying with applicable statutes or regulations, rules, and orders issued by the Kentucky Public Service Commission. Subsection C, omitted. Section 4, the company is authorized to operate throughout all territories within the corporate limits of the city for which it is authorized under state or federal law. Section 5, this ordinance shall become effective on the date of its passage and publication as required by law. The franchise created by this ordinance shall take effect on the effective date of the ordinance granting the franchise. Section 6, the company shall not be excused from complying with any of the terms and conditions of this ordinance by any failure of the government upon one or more occasions to insist that the company's performance or seek the company's compliance with any one or more of such terms or conditions. Section 7, the grantee of this franchise shall save the city harmless from any and all liability arising in any way from negligence of the company in the erection, maintenance, or operation of said lines and appurtenances. Section 8, subpart A, as compensation for this franchise created by this ordinance, the city shall receive payment of the total annual fee of 3%, 3%, close friends. All the revenues received by the company from the provisions of electric service within the corporate limits of the city, separate from and exclusive from any local tax, state tax, and fuel costs, the city shall have the right to increase said franchise fee described above up to 4%, 4%, close friends. All the revenues received by the city from the provisions of electrical service within the corporate limits of the city, separate from and exclusive of any local tax, state tax, or fuel cost, and the increase shall become effective 180 days, 180, close days from the date of the written notice of the increase provided to the company. The city shall provide the company not less than 20 days prior notice of each city council meeting at which the increase of the franchise fee will be considered. In order to enable a representative of the company to attend such meeting, the aforesaid written notice shall be sent by certified mail to the company's registered agent. Section B and C and D omitted. Section 9, the company shall either self-insure in whole or in part, maintain, enforce, to determine the franchisee insurance coverage for general liability insurance, auto liability, and workers' compensation. According with all applicable laws and regulations, Section 10, the company agrees to charge such rate or rates as from time to time be fixed by the Public Service Commission of Kentucky or any successor regulatory body. Section 11, the company shall have the right to trim and cut trees or to maintain its equipment and facilities. Section 12, this ordinance and the franchise awarded pursuant to it shall be governed by the laws of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 13, the ordinance and franchise awarded pursuant to it does not create a contractual relationship with or right of action in favor of a third party against either the government or the company. Section 14, if any section, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is held unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, such infirmity shall not affect the validity of the remaining ordinance. Section 15, it shall be the duty of the city's mayor or his/her designee to offer for sale the franchise and privileges created hereunder. Section 16, bids and proposals for the purchase and acquisition of the franchise and privilege hereby created shall be in writing and shall be delivered to the city mayor or his/her designee upon such date as dates and at the time or times fixed by him or her in the publications or advertisements for receiving site. I'll read the last sentence. Each bidder for said franchise privilege, right, and authority shall file as a part of its bid a certified copy of a certificate of convenience and necessity of the Public Service Commission issued under authority of KRS 278.020, 3, second reading 10/2/3, signature line mayor, attestation clerk, published day.
Alrighty, second reading. Anybody got anything? Entertain a motion to approve.
I make the motion we accept it as presented.
Got a motion to approve second reading of the fair franchise ordinance.
I'll second.
Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Alrighty, we'll set the sale. We'll set the sale, get ready for the next place. Anything else?
It's got to be, like I said, from when you put the ad in the paper, you got, what, no shorter than 7 or 21 days. And I know you all have questions with the village. I brought some sheets I'll give to you all, and if you want to have a work session, I'm not a billing expert by any means. I've worked there for 38 years, but I can get Misty and Linda, 2 customer service reps, we'll go up and go through the whole thing in a work session before your all's meeting or something, that will help you.
Well, I've just got two basic points.
Anytime you see it for the reader.
Bob Sherwood, I'm External Affairs Manager for Kentucky Valley. I apologize.
The points I'd like to make is that a couple of those line items that's in the tariff. One is to recoup your funding for tearing down a perfectly good power plant in Louisa. Is that correct? Yes or no?
The decommissioning rider, yes, it's part of
Okay.
that, it's approved by the commission.
Number two, we're also paying additional to buy power to replace that from a plant in West Virginia. Is that true?
We own that plant.
But that was part of, we're paying extra so you could buy part of that plant.
You either had to rebuild Big Sandy and bring it up to environmental standards.
Right.
Or you had to purchase a plant or build a plant or buy it on the market. It was the cost, and it was approved. Everything we do is approved by the commission.
I understand that.
And things we don't get to do are denied by the commission. So we chose to purchase half of Mitchell, which is an 800 megawatt plant. They replaced that, we converted part of Big Sandy into a gas unit. But when you're talking about the franchise is a fee that is imposed by city government in order for us to operate in those areas.
Right, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about tariff.
Right.
Because I really still don't think it's fair that all the rate payers should pay for something that we had no part in. You know, that they're, just because the Public Service Commission okayed it, don't mean it's okay. I think that plant was rebuildable for a lot less than what we're paying now.
The studies we
Because
had,
all it needed was a scrape.
the studies we had showed it was going to be more expensive, or they would have approved it.
Well, I think there was a lot of pressure to tear down a coal plant. That's what it was.
But it's environmental regulations from the federal government that are driving that pressure.
They drove it then, but they've changed since then.
They're still closing coal today. I mean, I'm from Eastern Kentucky. My parents have had, my family's had a business here for 102 years.
But my point is, you know, we shouldn't be paying extra because, you know, we live in Eastern Kentucky.
But
You go to Tennessee, they don't have those extra charges.
well, they have the same environmental charges, but some of their plants are on hydro, which you don't have as renewable. You won't have those fuel adjustment clauses. You won't have environmental on solar. But you've also got limitations on those products as well because of regulating lake heights, and the sun not always working. You've got to have the battery technology to work at night. So everything has got to be a part of the portfolio. And that's, like I said, I'm not a regulator. I do external affairs. But being in the business as long, we have to justify to the commission what's fair, just, and reasonable. They make a decision and say no. In fact, we were going to put strawberries on Mitchell. They said no. You're not going to put them on Mitchell because it's too expensive to keep that cold, and it's their decision. We put our best case forward and we move forward because we're a regulated environment. We don't get to change our prices. Fuel adjustment follows the market. The FAC that you see on the bill is a fuel adjustment clause. Whatever gas entered, whatever fuel costs rise and fall, that's how you get debits or credits. So it's a pass-through. We don't make money off of that. And just like the franchise tax, we don't make money off that. We just collect it for y'all and give it back to you.
Laura, anything else? We got a USGS resolution. I'll read it, man. We'll let you rest.
I'll take it.
Well, I know that you was getting wicker about the minute.
I was going
And before we read it, what this is we're the only ones I know trying to do this. USGS is U.S. Geological Survey. They have some storm and stream monitors in some places. None this way, closest one was Whitesboro, and I think it was taken out. But what I went to them with is we're looking at monitoring around the lake and the dam, upstream and downstream, and to get an idea of when we get these pop-up showers or storms or black sky events, whatever technical term they're going to use for them, to try to help us understand if it rains real hard over here, what it's doing down here, or and vice versa. So USGS, they have money, they'll match up to most of it. This is a local match participation program through the Department of Local Government. And what I'm getting at, it's not going to cost us anything out of our pocket. They'll get them in place. We'll be able to use them, use that data. USGS will be able to use that data. We're sort of in we're headwaters, and we're headwaters of the watershed. So the big rains here sometimes does a little something different than it does other places. So that's trying to get enough data to study that, see what effects it makes, and this also will help us in our stormwater projects that we're working on going forward to learn how it ain't all about just making the creeks deep and wide and washing your neighbors off. It's how you manage your water and be able to take care of the rain when it comes. So you want to try it, Randall? I don't care to read it.
I'll give it a try. Bear with me. Authorizing resolution, local match participation program grant, City of Jenkins, adopt Adoption of a resolution for the city of Jenkins authorizing the filing of the Kentucky Local Match Participation Program, parens quote, LMPP, close parens, close, project proposal / grant application for up to $42,500 in local match participation program funds with the Department for Local Government, parens DLG, close parens, semicolon, authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Jenkins to execute any document which are deemed necessary by DLG to carry out this project, and authorizing the mayor to act as the authorized correspondent for this project. Whereas the city of Jenkins, parens quote, city, close parens, close quotes, desire to promote and carry out flood control planning and mitigation activities on behalf of the residents of the city of Jenkins by supporting the Jenkins Stream Gauge project. And whereas it is recognized that LMPP money is available to the city for the purpose stated herein pursuant to KRS 147A.029, impose certain obligations and responsibilities upon the city and will be required, among other things, colon, parens 1, close parens, approval of a satisfactory application transmitted to DLG for approval, and parens 2, close parens, other obligations of the city in connection with receiving the LMPP grant of monies for the purposes stated herein. Now therefore be it resolved the second day of October 2023 by the city of Jenkins that a project proposal / grant application on behalf of the city for LMPP monies up to $42,500 for Jenkins Stream Gauge project shall be submitted to DLG. The city shall provide such additional information and furnish such documents as may be required, and the city mayor shall act as the authorized correspondent for this project. Done this second day of October 2023, motion made by blank and seconded by blank, members present voting unanimously in favor, signature line mayor at this station by clerk.
Alrighty, entertain a motion to approve authorizing resolution.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
A motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And before we get away from that, it would hurt me not to tell this part of it. Rebecca Shelton with Appalachian Law has helped with this from the beginning and helped walking through the funding and doing all the extra letters and calls and stuff that needs to be done without not have time to keep up with this. I think this is a very good extra project that we wouldn't have had it without her help. So I'm in her primary, she's watching. We really appreciate what she's done for
Do
us.
you know the technical stuff behind this? Is this going to send out a signal to let you know what stream levels are
There-
to your phones and so on?
There's a part of it that should be warning that it can happen. And after the flood, they found out, I can't remember the numbers, but there was some capability on the Kentucky River down that way, but there wasn't 6 or 7 people signed up to it. It's not necessarily an early warning system. It can be. It's that piece with being able to monitor what rain, because 3 or 4 Saturdays ago, it washed off Peaksville Branch and Marshall Branch again. We lost the main line. It just happened in the heart of rain up here. And that's what we're trying to understand with the rainfall, where it's at, what it's doing to our streams to be able to add to. One thing I've learned is the more stuff you take to the federal government for asking for money, the better off you are. And so we're trying to cover them up with data so they'll sprinkle us with a little bit of money. But I do want to appreciate Rebecca, and that's one of the many pieces we're working on. So. All right. Did I call a roll on that one? Did we vote on that? Yeah, we did? Okay.
Yeah.
I was afraid I was going to run right back. All right. You have a roadblock from Jenkins Middle School basketball.
I don't think you voted on the second one I just read.
Let's try it. We
You
had
asked-
a motion second. You got who that was?
Yes.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Will
Aye.
again. Any opposed? That's what I was afraid of. I jumped into thanking people for it. All right, roadblock. No conflicts with the roadblock. Entertain a motion to approve Jenkins Middle School basketball roadblock.
Make a motion to approve the roadblock.
I'll second.
And we have got another local department that's interested in purchasing the older one. It's letter 27, it's the older international one. And fire department, like for you all, surplus it, it's a truck that they bought with their own funds and maintained and took care of. But through the umbrella of the city, we need to declare it surplus. And they're putting together what the next step needs to be, what the next truck would be that would best serve the needs of Jenkins and surrounding areas. So we don't know exactly what that is yet. Secret. Possible. We had one time. But anyway, it's a local department, and we'll be able to go ahead and do that with them without having an auction at all. But we just need to declare it surplus.
So you need a motion?
Yeah, motion to declare letter 27 surplus for the
Okay,
fire.
I'll make the motion to declare ladder 27 surplus.
All right. I'll second. Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. All righty. Jimmy, you'll go ahead and do your police report.
You can see what we got in front of the activity. There are two things I want to bring up. One is also has to do with the fire department. It is burn ban right now until further notice. So we want to encourage everybody, please do not burn on 90-degree days. We haven't had any rain for months, and when it's windy, because that causes a lot of problems. So please watch that. The other thing is we've been working on it. We've been getting all these complaints about dogs. I've talked to every dog owner and explained to them they need to keep their dogs up. I talked with the dog warden. They came up and picked up a whole bunch of them. I want to make it very public that the dogs are sent to a shelter, but it's a no-kill shelter. They have a certain amount of time that they keep the animals until they can find an owner. And if nobody comes up and requests the dogs to be given back, then they're adopted out. So it's not a kill shelter by any means. So if you're missing a dog, most everybody I've talked to, I've explained, hey, listen, your dog's out. And if you're missing a dog, just contact Kim down at the county garage, and she can probably tell you where it's at, and you can go about getting it back.
Anything else? Council got anything tonight? While you're thinking on it, DCMC partners may be here next meeting. They were trying to make it up tonight, but they didn't make it in with these other meetings going on. But like I said, we're getting ready to get into the phase where we're going to be doing meetings with you all, public meetings, and start figuring out how we come out of this with the HUD money and the other money that's coming from the federal government, HUD, what it's going to be used for and how it's going to be used, and that stormwater and all this other stuff we're talking about, which the stormwater one we're working on right now is money that they didn't spend in the 21 disaster in Western Kentucky. And what I'm trying hard not to do is somebody in the next disaster say, well, they didn't spend all their money in this disaster. So we're looking at taking advantage of all the money available, even back to the 21 disaster. And then the big deal is keeping up with it, and we don't have to send them back. Because if you don't track, document, make sure you don't have duplication of benefits and several other things that can cause a fallback. And that's why it takes so long. That's why, if we'd had the money up front to do a lot of this stuff, we could have done it, but we had to wait on the money to come from the federal government back to the state. The state turns it around quick, but that's just the progress the way it happens. So. Everybody doesn't have trick or treat 6 to 8 on Halloween sound good to you all? That's when everybody else is doing it. If you want to, just make a motion to vote on it until it's really official. Let me just say. All right, got a motion for trick or treat 6 to 8, October 31st. There's a second.
I'll second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And as far as I know, they're planning to save tonight.
Save tonight's the same night, right?
Yeah, at the same time. They'll have be more on what's happening, so anybody wants to be involved in that, we'll be at the park during those hours. And I about run right by this, but the Coal Railroad Museum, the David A's a Year Museum, has been there 25 years. So October the 14th from noon till 3 will be a celebration reception. So, and if you live in Jenkins and you've not been in there, shame on you. At least come by and check it out. There's a lot of stuff. I got
We'll be honoring Seth Keegan as our founder, executive director of the board. He's been the only one we've ever had, so we'll be sort of highlighting his accomplishments at that anniversary.
Love to see you there. We're down to that famous one. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
If you don't mind, I had a couple little things.
Okay.
FEMA's starting a buyback program, so we're moving, I'm involved in that. We're moving on a bunch of houses here in Jenkins that are being purchased. Also on our blighted and deteriorated, made some movement there. We'll have a couple that are, the city will be able to buy very soon, within a few days. And so it's going to be a lot of houses being knocked down soon.
Well, I'll add to that, the house in Pine Lane that we've got it on the ground. The little house in Mudtown is gone, dirt's been hauled back in and cleaned up, so.
It's just the same property we talked about before, that you can't do anything with it once it's torn down.
Yeah,
No. If FEMA buys it, yeah.
yeah.
Are any of the houses on Libby Lane on the list?
Now,
There's probably only one that's, shouldn't be, the rest of them should.
I think only one's occupied.
Yeah, it's the one
I'm
talking.
not sure about it.
Yeah, it's probably not livable,
Well,
but
I think our committee was asked to participate in the new program. Mayor.
Yeah.
And, I think Levy Lane was our number one priority. If
yeah,
not,
it needs to be.
Well, and what that's going
or
to be.
Smoky Road was.
It's going to involve some drone. We're going to use some drones to fly over and really look at properties, not just, some houses look all right, but there's a hole in the roof, whatever. But there'll be notifications of when that's going to happen. It'll be daylight hours.
Yeah, please don't shoot our.
Yeah,
drone
don't
down.
just, it's just
Have
going
we
to
had some already? Because I've got a couple of calls on this.
be, we have not flown anything.
Because
Not
there's been
yet.
a few out. Then these are not,
Well,
residential type. These are.
There's
industrial.
4 or 5 flies about every night. If you go out and look at it.
Well, there's little ones. I mean, we all know who's got some little
You may
ones.
have noticed, across from elementary, we've had a private owner there knock those down. We did that sale, and she's knocked
Yeah.
down that building.
Yeah, the Oshie property.
Yeah. And we had to chase that one to Germany back. That
Forks back.
Deutsche Bank owned it.
Fortune, one of them.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say, there's some progress being made. The blighter property is tough, but they're identifying some sections for them to do the fly, and we'll be working with them to get that information, and that goes back to data to take to the next bunch to show what we're working on. We're also looking at a Vista worker that's going to help us identify the properties, catalog them, look at Facebook, try to run down the last known owner so we can get after them. We'd like to do 10 at a time, or I'd like to take 10 at a time, the rest will be done. So, didn't bring a big grinder in here and grind them up, so we ain't piecemealing it out, $75 a ton to get rid of it. Alrighty, that's it. Motion to adjourn. Make a motion. Got a motion?
I say.
And a second. All in favor say bye. Thank you all for coming.